Yeah, hey everybody. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Um, yeah, cool. So let's dive in here. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about using apps with Eloqua. And I think that Eloqua has a lot of capabilities out of the box that people spend a good amount of time using, focused around segmentation, landing pages, emails, forms, campaigns, etc. But Oracle has, since Oracle acquired Eloqua, back in 2012, they've been extending the platform and they added this ability to use and install apps like a few years ago now. And I think that some of our clients do leverage these to a certain extent, but there's the potential for so much more when you get into this space. So there is the App Cloud Marketplace, of course. So I would encourage everybody to go on there and look around and just see what is available. But you'll find things like from third-party vendors, from Oracle, having to do with any number of different use cases like social or CRM integrations, reporting, surveying, and on and on and on. But Eloqua actually also comes out of the box now with a number of pre-built applications by Oracle. So that's an easy way to sort of, dip your toe in the water and try things out. So if you are in the product, you can go to the gear, the main settings area. And if you have the user access, you should see apps in that top right hand corner box, and from there you'll see like a sampling of those apps that you can install. And the really cool thing about these apps is that they appear native once they're installed. So they're first class citizens, I guess you could say, just like a lot of the other built-in features in Eloqua. So there's a nice seamless integration there. We also do author some apps, and we'll look at that in a second. So I wanted to touch on those. And we also do app development. So I think we can look at that a little bit as well. So what can apps do? I think the most common place that you're going to see apps being leveraged in Eloqua is in campaigns and program canvases with the action and decision steps. So if you have some apps installed and you're in a campaign or a program, you can expand the list on the left-hand side, and you'll see probably a number of hidden steps that maybe you didn't even know were there. And when you do that, you can star those and have them show up by default. So that's going to be the place where you typically see apps. But they're also capable of doing all sorts of different things throughout the product by being embedded in flyout menus or from the app screen itself over in the settings area. Certain apps are configured and managed there. And they may serve different purposes in those places. So for instance, the Oracle RSS app is used directly in emails. So that's where you would access it and use it. Likewise, CRM integration apps would be configured over in the apps section, but they also have custom feeders and action steps that you'll see on campaigns. And another thing that apps do is typically import and export data out of Eloqua. Um, those aren't necessarily using Oracle's app framework, but they're using the Eloqua APIs to import and export the data. So here are some of the free apps that Oracle offers that come out of the box if you decide to install them. Contact Washing Machine is typically used to scrub dirty data and do different manipulation of data. That is sort of inspired by a process that was done a long time ago using the Eloqua program builder. And Oracle then produced this app to enhance that process in the program canvas and campaign canvas. And that works really well in addition to the other data tools that are native in Eloqua. So update rules, probably the most primary data tool you would use in conjunction with the contact washing machine, and lookup tables. So with those tools, you really have a lot at your fingertips in terms of cleaning dirty data. Um, and then from there, you can use services to append data and replace data. Next up, the date app. So the date app is actually a number of different steps that show up in your canvases. So they let you look at dates in a lot of interesting ways that, it just adds more capabilities around those date fields that you may have. Um, so, and I think that that's one that comes up pretty often through some of the conversations I've had with you guys. You want to send a birthday reminder or something like that. Well, the data app can probably help you with that. External activity, this one doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. This is if you have a CRM integration for the most part. It's useful if you're doing reporting with Insight, it could be useful there and for certain segmentation, but it's a way of registering activities that happen outside of Eloqua. So not really a sports use case, but a typical like B2B use case would be somebody attended a webinar or went to a trade show or something like that. So then you can register that attendance, the registration, different things like that in Eloqua and have it for those different use cases. And then the last one is that RSS app. This is useful when you're trying to embed an RSS feed into an email. And so you want to pull, different pieces of that feed in for different reasons. And as we'll see, we actually made our own RSS app that looks at things a little bit differently. So these are some of the apps that we have authored to date and some of the things that are coming up. We've got a comparison app, which right now is different. It's actually different apps, I believe, different steps. We're bringing that all under one roof that will let you do all sorts of different comparisons between fields, which, I mean, you use your imagination. It's got a lot of great use cases. The contact deleter. So, this is one that we would recommend you use with great caution, but especially in the era of the GDPR and CCPA, this is sort of a lifesaver in that regards. If you have obligations to purge data from the system, then this can be placed in a canvas, and it's actually got a lot of logging and things in it so that you have a paper trail around the records that are being deleted. Record to CDO. This is it's an app that we created to more easily allow writing data just directly into custom objects within Eloqua. Traditionally, you go through the form submit application, which is another Oracle app. But we found that, in a lot of cases, we'd rather just go directly to the custom object. And so this, it has a lot of bells and whistles surrounding that. And then the one I already mentioned, our RSS cloud content. The key thing about this is that we let you style the content in the email a little bit more easily. And the selection of the content is a little bit different in our app. Add external activity from CDO. So this was something that some of our clients requested, and it's just another way of creating those external activities. So it serves the same function as the Oracle app, but it sources the information to create the activities from custom objects. So it's just another way of looking at doing the same thing. And then the paste from list is one that we created to address a few different issues. So one, it's a way for you to do things like assigning um, codes, whether they be coupon codes or other codes. You can paste those codes directly into this app, and it can do things like round robin the codes out to records randomly. It can do a sequential assignment of those codes. And so one of the big use cases we have for this is for sales rep assignment. And in that case, we use just a normal Eloqua pick list, and we have the ability to do round robining now in the program canvas with this, which is not something that you can do outside of Program Builder natively. So it's, to me, it solves a lot of really interesting use cases and opens up some things using the program canvas that you couldn't otherwise do. And then on the right-hand side, we've got a few things that are on deck coming up. The two SMS apps. So earlier, Graham was talking about um, the Seahawks looking into doing SMS, and so these are two of the apps that sort of came out of that process. We're actually working on more and more of these as more of our clients ask for this functionality. So it's one that we sort of have a framework for now, and as we identify different providers whose APIs are similar, we can basically just produce another app that does very similar things with them. Rover is another one that has some similarities to the SMS app, but it's push notifications as opposed to SMS. And Feeder from the CDO program canvas. So we're just looking at different angles of how do we move records around within Eloqua between the different types of canvases. So that's kind of what's going on there. And then more, we have more things in the pipeline, more ideas. We love to hear from our clients what their pain points are, and we obviously author apps when we can identify those issues. And so I would like to also take this opportunity to extend to you guys, if you want to test any of our apps, any of the ones that we have in the coming soon list, or maybe even ones I didn't mention here, we're happy to, let people be beta testers if you're open to that. So maybe just let me know if we're on the phone or you want to email me. We can get something set up. Or build your own. So we're not the only people that know how to author apps. I know there are a lot of other providers out there. You may have the expertise in house. Oracle has several different APIs that all work together to enable you to get data in and out of Eloqua, to enhance its functionality, and on and on. And one thing I wanted to call out here is that this isn't like the Google Play Store. This isn't an iPhone or anything like that. You don't need any special licenses to develop apps for Eloqua. If you have an instance of Eloqua, go right ahead and start playing around and building things. I recommend you use Sandbox, but there's nothing really stopping you as an Eloqua customer from trying things out. All right, and I think
Awesome.
that does it for me.
Great. Thanks, Jesse.